He actually was chosen by default because we've got 6 girls in heat. And he's intact. So it's much nicer for them and much nicer for us that he's separated from them right now. Even though I have to sleep with his leash like on my arms. He's very good, however. Dakota, when he was intact, was much worse. I had to sleep in the Suburban with him. Oh. It's true.
Reverend, what does intact mean?
Means that he could sire, and we're not ready for puppies. Yes. So he has not been neutered, is what we're saying. Anyway, it is true. I slept in the Suburban with Dakota. You know, my dedication for this calling. Because the talk today is about what's your calling. Well, I talk all week long, and I talk every week about your divine purpose. And the music this week was really inspiring that way. So for those of you who haven't been here before, you're going to get to hear the words of Tommy Locks and the music and singing written by Greg LeBon. So we're really happy that this pair found each other. So I'm going to set up for that music. But what's your calling? What's your calling? What are you here to do? I know you have a divine purpose. You are actually here to fulfill that divine purpose. And freedom, the name freedom, just in that, you know, what a divine purpose just to serve that name. The land, the ranch is actually called Freedom. And what we do here is, it's the home of our educational program, Shadowland Foundation, and the Nature's Path Healing Center, which this is part of and what it's becoming, so that people can come to nature and feel the connection and learn from these animals who the Native Americans said were our teachers. And so when you're listening to nature and you understand that we are a part of nature, not separate from it, that we are made of the same stuff as everything else on the planet, then you understand that the trees can talk to you. The trees helped me survive my childhood. You know, nature helped and wild animals helped Paul survive his childhood. Vision quests that were done by the Native Americans, I'm sorry, they did do vision quests, I wasn't going to talk about that, but a medicine walk. A medicine walk was where you went out to nature and let nature, let the plants, the animals, the sky, the sun, everything that you come into contact with tell you and answer the questions that you're asking if you're lost. So Nature's Path Healing Center is the beginning of a place where you can come to connect back with who you are and the roots of our divine universal nature. So Freedom, Shadowland Foundation is named for Shadow, our black wolf, which we lost to cancer, and missing her. And for those of you who don't know, after she passed, and when that spring, when they go into season, we knew that there would be puppies. And so Paul, missing Shadow, called the sanctuary, and Shadow's sister from her litter was giving birth at that time to Freedom. Just as Paul was calling. So that's a calling. Do you know what I mean? And I remember it, and each time I have to get convinced, I have to get taken out of what it takes to raise one of these guys. I have to get out of the semantics and out of the day-to-day toil of it to hear the calling of it. You know, a lot of times we don't think we can take on anything else. But if it's your calling, it's where you're supposed to be putting your feet. Had Paul not called at that moment, and then we heard about them later, it still might be a calling, but that definitely was telling us that something was meant to be. And so we went up and we went to visit them, and we knew we wanted a boy because we already had 6 girls and 2 boys. And that's a little female heavy in any pack.
You're telling me.
Eddie knows. So this was our idea to go, and we already knew what his name was going to be, that he would fulfill the legacy of this land and the land that Shadow chose for us, and to fulfill nature's path and to lead the pack for Shadowland Foundation to educate people about the wolves and their purpose and what they are to us and what they can be to us if we would just open our hearts and welcome them. So that is Freedom's purpose. It is his calling. This is what he was meant to do. There were 6 boys and 2 females in that litter. So, you know, they all look the same. So it was about look. Do you know what I mean? Then you have to go to which boy are you going to choose. And I got them all out. They were all on my lap. It was just so yummy. So yummy to have 6 little boy puppies on your lap. But Paul was looking for the darkest one because there were no black puppies, but he was looking for Shadow, basically. And so Freedom was way in the back, and he was the lightest one. And I was just like, okay, he wants the darkest one, so I'm pulling out the colors. And he's like looking at them, and then he kept walking away for some reason. It was just not, any of those puppies were not the ones. And I said, well, there's one left in there, and he's light. And so, so you wanted a dark one. But we might as well check them all out. So I grabbed Freedom, I pulled him out, and Paul picked him up and went like this. And Freedom was like this at his face. And I looked and I just took a big exhale and I went, oh, he's going to be a handful. And Paul goes, I think this is the one. His face just lit up. He's like, I think this is the one. Oh, what's your calling? Look at him. And he's a huge hit, of course, you know. He loves people. He's not one of the shyer ones that, you know, runs away from everybody. So he's fulfilling his purpose. But we didn't just choose it based on that, you know what I mean? We're thinking about nature and we're looking into his eyes and our eyes, even though he couldn't even see. But it was an energetic, emotional, personal choice. We brought Alaska and Dakota, who are the alpha pair, and they were in the car, and we had to go check them out. So I had a nice, soft little, you know, shy boy that I liked. But we took them both. We put them both in the car with the alpha pair, and the one that I had that was really shy, he turned around and walked away from them. And go, okay, well that's not the one. Let's check Freedom out. And Freedom went in. His name wasn't Freedom yet. We hadn't chosen yet. He went in and he went directly to them. He crawled right into the truck. And they crawled to him and started sniffing. It's like, okay, that's it. So, you know, sometimes when you're making choices and you're going to go through your life and you have to check things out along the way. Are you on the right path? Is this the right way to go? I learned recently that the rewilding that they're doing with the Mexican gray wolves is being done by DNA testing. Scientific. They're testing the DNA to see who would be the best pair. Can you imagine that this is the choice, how we would choose our mate? The best breeding pair by testing your DNA. It's also scientific that they mate for life and they choose each other. You know what I mean? It's like nature has then been taken out of this rewilding process. We're going to rewild these Mexican grays, but we're going to pair them up first in a test tube. So when I heard that, I just heard it this week. It's just, what are they thinking? What are they thinking? This is a sentient being that even though it can't talk, it has a choice. They make choices all the time. They know what they're doing. They know who to pair with. Yes!
Yes! They do actually have a voice. They have a voice. Wow.
face is all on fire and tingly and still all the way down to my feet. Because, whoa! Whoa! It's not a test tube. It's not where we come from. Yes! Just kidding.
That's Dakota calling in his puppies and that's Freedom responding in his turn.
He's letting them know he's okay and he's here.
Very dark voices, Dakota.
So what's your calling? Yes, let's ask that question today. Good boy. Good boy. Ralph Waldo Emerson says, the only person you are destined to become is the person you decide to be. Because you know. Nobody else knows what you're supposed to be but you. Divinely guided and encouraged and inspired by the people who are older than you. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to start off with Hands of Grace, which is the song that I sing that always centers me and also reminds me of where we come from. And what I want you to do is just take a big exhale and let the chair that you're holding in, that you're sitting in, hold you. You don't have to hold on to yourself for the next hour at least. And the earth beneath your chair has you. The laws of nature has you. You cannot fall. Everything seen and unseen, we are connected to and we are united with. I know that each and every one of you are made of the same stuff that I am made of. And it is divine, and it is perfect and whole and complete. That we are mathematically correct creations of our Creator. And with a divine purpose to serve ourselves and our heart's desires and thereby helping others to do the same. So I claim for each and every one of you that the divine calling that is within you, you are living each and every moment. And that there are tools that you can find within yourself to know exactly the direction you need to go and exactly the choices that you need to make. And that there are no mistakes in and around this journey and this adventure to find your way. You are never less than the perfect, whole, complete being that you are sitting here right now, here now today. I know it. I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful to have you here. I'm grateful to share this home, to share these animals, to share this knowledge, to share this wisdom, this wolf wisdom. And so I say thank you in advance for all the good that has come before, all the good that is here now, and all the good that is coming our way. And I release it knowing that it is done in the mind of God, in the laws of the universe. The law of love that is holding you in its place and conspiring in your favor at all times. We need only to let it in and know that it is so and to choose it. So I choose it now. And I say, and so it is. And you can join me. And so it is. Amen. Namaste. Aho. Whatever language that solidifies and embodies this for you. Yes. Yes. That which we manifest is before us. We are the creators of our own destiny, be it through intention or ignorance. Our successes and our failures have been brought on by none other than ourselves. It's a great responsibility. So with that, I am going to invite Greg up. He's going to sing a song called Art and Soul. And the lyrics were written by our Tommy Locks.
Let's get started, this thing of beauty. The only one you'll ever know. You open your mind to the world around me, and open all your doors to your heart and soul. Give me your heart and soul tonight. If only for one moment in time. Give me your heart and soul tonight. If only for one moment in time. Let's go inside and open all curtains. Looks like you got nothing to hide. Remove the walls and leave your view uncertain. Let your soul be free and leave it all to me. Give me your heart and soul tonight. If only for one moment in time. Give me your heart and soul tonight. If only for one moment in time.
Art and soul. You know, they've taken art out of schools.
Yeah.
For the most part. Many places. I remember when he's 18 now, but one of my godsons, when he was 10 in Brooklyn, they took away PE.
Oh.
You know, because math and science is more important. How about the science of our bodies, our brains, our self-expression, the science of psychology, the science of physical fitness? You know what I mean? It's like there's this holistic view has sort of disappeared from our education system. They need to be educated. And it's so hard to go against these things because they really believe in the narrowness that the grades are more important than your whole self. There are places in Europe that have given up grades altogether because they're irrelevant. The person and how they're learning and what they're coming to in life and what they're creating, we now know is more important than getting an A or a B. You know, my mom was one of those people that really wanted an A student, you know, the A student. I was a flat B student because I didn't want to get in too much trouble, but I didn't want the attention that the A students got. And I also didn't want to do what the A students had to do, like the triple A students. And my mother would point out these girls to me, and she would point out, why can't you be more like them? Why can't you be more like that? Why can't you be more like them? And then I would look and I would see, you know, the cello player, you know, played 10 different instruments, the one that made the A's and did all of the projects and stuff. They had no friends. I told her that one day and I said, but they don't have any friends. All they do is work. Yes, but she makes A's. She's smart. Where does she take that smartness if she has no one to share it with? And she has no one to talk to? And she has no one to give her heart and soul, her art and soul to share it with? So she can play this cello and she can play it beautifully, but where does she go for her heart and her soul? To the A that's on the piece of paper. No, I'm not telling you guys not to excel. I know, please don't take that away. But the message I got as a child is not to excel because then you wouldn't get the A. You wouldn't get the friend. You would not get to play. Because what it looked like to me is that then I wouldn't be able to go outdoors, and outdoors was my salvation. Outdoors was where I went to be free, to freely express myself without the trees judging whether or not I had an A or a B, judging how smart I was or not smart I was. Let your soul be free to step outside. And whatever that outside is, it might be outside of your own judgment of yourself. It might be outside of the judgments that you took on and owned. I heard you say earlier, like, I'm not good enough, you know? Talk about art. There's a beautiful box back there. Please look at it. Teresa made it. And she had a hard time hearing how beautiful her work is. That's not wrong. That's not wrong, and I'm pointing you out. I know I'm not pointing you out, but I get it. I get it. But how can your art and soul be something that brings shame to you and you want to hide from? You learn that someplace. You learn that someplace. Yeah. And it gets passed down. This is a book called The Shadow Effect that Tommy gave me. And it was written by 3 different people. Deepak Chopra, Marianne Williamson, and a woman named Debbie Ford. And What's interesting is Debbie Ford, I found a quote from her, and she was a woman that was living through dying with cancer and wrote about it. And the first time Tommy was here, talk about what you're calling me. First time he was here, I said that quote, and I never met or read anything from Debbie Ford before, and he had read the book. So he already knew who she was. Step out of the illusion that our darkness will overtake us, and instead, we will see the world in a new light. The compassion we discover for ourselves will ignite our confidence and courage as we open our hearts to those around us. The power we unearth will help us tackle the fear that has been holding us back and will urge us to move powerfully forward to our highest potential. Far from frightening, embracing the shadow allows us to be whole, to be real, to take back our power and unleash our passion, and to realize our dream. Wow. Wow. So, it's taken most of my life to quit hiding my flaws. You know, I tried to be invisible when I was younger. I've talked about this before. I stopped talking when I was 8, and I didn't start talking until I was like 25, and I had to because I found myself divorced and alone in the world. So if I was going to make it, I'd have to speak. And not only would I have to speak, I would have to heal what was keeping me from the light. Not only from the light for myself, but I just wanted to be invisible. I didn't want anybody to see me. Because if they saw me for real, then they might see that thing that I felt was so ugly inside of me. And they would be so frightened that they would flee. Because that's what it felt like inside. Some of you are old enough to remember the Star Trek series, the original one, right? There's an episode where there's a woman who's blind, and she can only see through these reflections, and that she was the caretaker of this being that was so apparently physically looking ugly that you could go insane if you saw it. You guys, anybody remember this episode? And Spock opens it and sees him and nearly goes mad. But then, of course, you know, it was the show, so he was healed as a result. I remember watching that episode, and I related to that alien. That if it was actually revealed that it would be so ugly that you could literally go insane in its presence. And I'm not the only person who has moments of feeling like that. Now, I was not born like that. But something happens, and things happen to us, and things are said to us, and we are treated in a certain way that makes us believe that we are less than who we really are, which is a divine being. Now, I've spent most of my life trying to hide that feeling from people and myself. You know, denial is probably the most insidious disease on the planet. Because as long as you're in denial of anything, you are limiting your potential to be human, to be whole. And it's very hard to come back from that unless you face yourself with the knowing, though, of who you really are. It took a lot of time and a lot of learning and a lot of absorbing love in my life before I could actually see what was unlovable about me in order for it to be safe to go there. Do you guys understand what I mean by that? Because you just can't dive into the depth of the darkness of your souls without knowing who you really are and having that intact. And we help each other that way. That's what we're here to do. It's a really hard talk for me. But you cannot live your calling if you think you don't deserve it. If you think there's something ugly within you. You cannot be free like freedom to run this property and go, wow, it's so great to be a wolf. I wish I could jump over there and hunt. Oh, he has limitation. But you know what I mean? It's like, that's what nature teaches us. You know, sometimes we think we survived something because we physically survived something. But we're not psychologically or emotionally intact, and our hearts are hurt and they're broken. But we get up and we brave the day, and we go to our jobs and we try and smile and we do whatever it takes to get through that day, and then some of us go home when what they call quiet desperation and say, oh, well, I made it through another one. You know? Don't confuse poor decision making with destiny. Own your mistakes. It's okay, we all make them. Learn from them so they can empower you. A sin initially was when you missed the mark through archery. Like, you know, that big round thing, and then the arrow goes way past it. It doesn't even go away anywhere near it. That's what's called a sin. Because you missed the mark. Doesn't mean you can't pick up another arrow and enlist some help from people who have actually hit the target before that can teach you how to now hit the target. Rather than trying on your own to make it. And that there's some shame involved in if you don't make it without help. Now, I'm mostly telling on myself here. This may not be true for all of you. I wouldn't be up here if I didn't have great teachers. If the educational system had not worked for me on some level. And then my further education, do you know what I mean, had not worked for me on some level. I had great teachers in order just to stand up here and to be able to work with the animals. You know, and what we can pass now to Antoinette, who is now officially a trainer instead of a handler. There are winds of destiny that blow when we least expect them. Sometimes they gust with the fury of a hurricane, and sometimes they barely fan one's cheek. But the winds cannot be denied, bringing, as they often do, a future that is impossible to ignore. All of us have found moments where something happened that looked like either a disaster or you just kind of got a whisper. That whisper for Paul to call. It's just a little fan on his cheek to go and call. Otherwise freedom wouldn't be here if he didn't listen. You know, intention goes a long way. If you intend to follow your calling, if you intend to follow your heart's desire, you get lots of little whispers. I've got goosebumps again. All those little moments where you get the goosebumps. And then you go, oh, well, I can't do that. I have a job. I have kids. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. And pretty soon the fan's gone and the memory's gone and the feeling's gone. What does it hurt to work into it? What does it hurt to make that phone call? It doesn't. You just get another choice, yay or nay. Well, that's not really what I thought I was looking for. But I'm glad to know that that's really what I want. You know what I mean? To live in through your day and your day's work and the menial stuff and your chores. When I'm picking up poop, I would like to be fanned in the cheek. We got 9 of them. That's a lot of poop. And sometimes I forget to, you know, I'm picking up poop going, oh my gosh. You know, and Eddie will tell, every time I open the little lid, Eddie's like, oh, it's horrible. Instead of hearing that this was my calling, this is part of my calling, look at it and know they're healthy. Do you know what I mean? Even in poop. Even in poop. You can see if you're okay or you're not okay. Also, you can see what they ate that they shouldn't have. Sometimes the dreams that come true are the dreams you never even thought you had. I never ever expected going from the suburbs to the city, to New York City, back to Los Angeles, to end up here raising 9 wolves. Never, ever, ever outpictured that. But I did leave New York City knowing that I was standing at my 9-story, apartment building, looking out the window, and something inside of me, and I had reached the height of my height there. It was really wonderful. I had a great life. And I was looking out the side of the window, and something just exhaled in me, and I had a sobering moment and went, wow, I think I'm done here. That's a scary moment too. I finally made it. I think I'm done here. And then all of a sudden I knew I needed more outdoors. I needed to be outdoors again. My childhood was calling to me to come and be outdoors. And so I made it back to Los Angeles because that was the only thing I could think of was the outdoors. I missed the mountains that I saw, that I was seeing from, Studio City area, North Hollywood. And Burbank, Glendale, you see all those mountains. I thought I just needed a balcony. I wanted an apartment with a balcony. That's what I thought I needed. My divine calling brought me to a different place. Here. Talk about outdoors. You can't get more outdoors than this. But I still don't know. Because this is the third act of my life. If you're talking about acting in that way, this is the third act of my life, and I don't know what's happening. I know that I'm supposed to be here, and I have no idea what anything else looks like. I don't know what Nature's Path Healing Center is supposed to look like, even except that I know that I'm supposed to help build it. I know that these wolves are meant to be on this land, and that you're supposed to meet them, and it's going to do something for you that it will help propel you in your divine calling, or you wouldn't be sitting here. We wouldn't have attracted you in. You wouldn't have been attracted to us. But I still don't know what it's supposed to look like. That's also scary. Because you don't just, even though Bewitched was my favorite show when I was a kid, because I look a lot like her, Elizabeth Montgomery. You can't just twitch the nose, and it all appears. Things have to happen. You have to do stuff in order for it to grow and to build it. You need help. You can't build it by yourself. We did not build this. It is not in the stars to hold our destiny, but in ourselves. That's William Shakespeare. Love is our true destiny. We do not find the meaning of life by ourselves alone. We find it in one another. Yeah. I saw a special one day, and it was about teenagers in prison. They had done heinous things. And this one documentary was about taking these children and finding out what put them there. And I remember this one girl who, in the beginning of it, for all intents and purposes, she was not connected to her heart. She was not connected to her humanity. And she could not have done what she had done if she had been. And so the work for this documentary and what they were trying to discover was what caused that, because she didn't get here as a killer or whatever it is that, I forget what she did. So she volunteered, and what
what they discovered was something really heinous happened to her when she was a kid. And it was probably horrifying for her to go through that process, to uncover those layers and to remember and relive and be re-traumatized to what had happened to her that hurt her soul to such a degree that she could not feel her own humanity. Not just her own, but others. And once she got in touch with it, and you could see through the bawling, the tears, that she was awakening again. And it wasn't until she realized what had happened to her, because she's now a teenager, and then she's going back to an incident that really hurt her life when she was younger, that she could have compassion for that child that she was. And once she felt that compassion, she all of a sudden could feel what she had done to another. That's what you call a breakthrough. Really a breakthrough. Now she has to pay for the crime that she did, and she will continue to do so. But she, in that process that she volunteered for, won her humanity back because she had the courage to face that shadow part of herself and forgive the child that was injured enough to injure somebody else. We literally cannot have compassion for another unless we start with ourselves. It's proven. That's also science. I was watching, I found a Native American television show, a television channel. It's if you've got DirecTV, it's 24-2. And they were doing a special on the Serrano tribe, which was the tribe that lived here. Which was, oh, I know. And so I looked up more information, and they have this belief that every living thing was a human being before and is now came back to as a plant, as an animal, as a tree to serve us in this lifetime to help us through. And my first thought, I swear to God, even as smart as I am, I was like, wow, they were superstitious. They were superstitious, and they believed that the way you treated an animal, or how you took an animal to eat it, and that they were human beings before. And so it made them honorable. There was superstition. I totally forgot what I know about science. It's all energy. It's energetic. If we intend to be respectful, even to the animals and creatures that we kill to eat, it's life-changing. If whenever we pick a plant to eat and we put it in our salad, if we are mindful that this is some part of creation that we are connected to that nourishes us and has given its life for our benefit, here in this lifetime, if we approached every single part of our lives and nature in that way, the energetic intention behind that would change the world. Wow. Jamie Sams, actually, she created the medicine cards. I don't know if you guys know them. But it was a way to, she made it kind of a card game, like a tarot game, but she has the medicine cards for all the animals and all the birds. And then cards about the different ceremonies that the Native Americans did and what they're associated to. So that if you need help, you can actually just energetically choose a card like you would choose a card like a magician would do, and that it would give you a message and help you answer what you're calling for. And so she kind of made it into a game of chance that we can actually embrace, but learn these great lessons from. But this is what she says. The uniworld is the universal family of creation. In our modern world, the understandings of the language of love can be understood only through an open heart. For it is a way of living life rather than a system to be mastered. We must be willing to use the feelings and the inner senses to hear the tender teachings of our fellow life form. Wow. I spent a lot of years trying to fix myself. Master the techniques of self-love. Master the spiritual, you know what I mean? Part of my whole spiritual journey was a lot of hard work. Oh gosh, I need another book to read because I'm still suffering. Oh, it's really just living life with the intention of an open heart in a loving way for yourself and others. It's that simple and sometimes that clouded and hard to do, and you need a breakthrough in order to do it based on whatever life experience that you have. But I know that I'm not different than anybody else, that there is a spiritual calling, that you have a divine purpose. And whatever that calling is, your feet are right where they need to be. And you do not have to be fixed in any way in order to move in that direction. But you may have to tell the truth all the time, even if it's the ugly truth. Accept it, know it, and forgive it. And step forward into the light where you were meant to shine. And embrace your power. It's all one still. The yin and the yang. There's a black wolf and a white wolf. There's the light and the dark. And it makes all of it. You cannot be one without the other. You cannot know compassion unless you've been hurt. You can hold both sides. But you have to remember who you are. And know that you've been called to a divine purpose. And that you are a divine being already. And so is the lettuce in your salad. It's true. So I'm going to call Greg back up again. And he's going to sing another song, and it's called Fallen. F-A-L-L-I-N. Once again, Tommy Locks wrote the lyrics, and Greg wrote the music, and he's going to sing for us. that went before me, of all I have been, seen, and done, of everything done to me. I am everyone, everything whose being in the world was affected by mine. I am anything that happens after I am gone, which would not have happened if I had not come. This is somebody who knows who he is. Wow. It's true. You leave a footprint or paw print. And it started before you came. And it will last long after you're gone. Wow. So anyway, thank you very much for listening. I really appreciate you allowing me to express myself every week. Really do. It helps me grow. It helps me grow. And it helps remind me of where I've come from, where I've been, and where I'm going, and who I am. It took a lifetime to go, wow, okay, I like what I see. That was good, you know? So anyway, stay afterwards, enjoy the refreshments. Thank Margie and Teresa, and all of the gifts you see back here have been donated and handmade by these two who are in the room right now. And Mary, there's some necklaces there too. It's all been handcrafted and donated for our benefit, for the wolves, and for our Nature's Path and what we're building here. We also would love and accept any monetary gift that you want to give us as a love offering. It helps us to build and grow too, so we're really appreciative. If you want to partake in the burden basket, for those of you who don't know what that is, the Native Americans carried burden baskets, especially the women, and they were only allowed to carry what they could carry because they couldn't afford to have an injury. So depending on your strength and your size, you would carry a burden basket. But when it was empty, you hung it on your dwelling to remind yourself not to take any of your burdens into your sacred space, which is your home. Yeah, you could do this at home too. But here, we've kind of taken it so that if you arrived with some burdens, you can write them down over here, and there's a burden basket. If you don't want, you can just fold it up and put it in there, and I burn them and say a prayer later. So just don't leave here with your burdens. And, then Paul's going to build a fire, so you can burn them yourself if you like to. There's tobacco there, and you can give the love offering of the tobacco. They believe that the smoke that you saw from the tobacco burning was you seeing your prayers answered. So basically you want to release your burdens back into nothingness, especially after the talk today. Don't go home with anything that does not belong to you or belong inside of you. Okay? And then we'll go see the wolves after we rest a little bit. And then we do end with a song called Face of God, and it has some sign language to it, so I'll do it for you, and then you can join me. But you are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. Always remember who you are.